everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am sorry I look like this, but this is just the real. I kind of gave up on looking put together for this channel about 2 months in. But in today's video I will be working on my biggest commission to date. I think it's secret, so you won't be watching this until November. It's currently the beginning of August, but this is a secret thing, so I don't think I will be posting this until months later. Maybe it's like November. Merry Christmas! They are commissioning 5 artists to do an interpretation of one of the buildings that they own. When I first got the assignment, I struggled a bit because I didn't really know how to make this my own. So I went to the building and I took some photos of it, but I was like, your first instinct is obviously to just like paint the building. But when I got there and I was taking these stock photos that already has been done, I thought to myself like these people selected me as an artist based on my portfolio, and my portfolio is always about normal people, everyday life, portraits, love, humanity. There are 4 other artists that will probably also depict a building, so even though it has to be about this building, I do believe that they want some diversity within the styles and subject matters. I just took my camera and I just sneaked into the building, and it's like an office building and every door is like locked, so I went in there and I was looking for inspiration. And for me, looking for inspiration is basically just like looking for any sign of life. And my little hunt led me to the restaurant downstairs that is a part of the building. There's this restaurant that has a really nice vibe to it, and when I asked the owner and stuff, they said that a lot of the people in the office come and eat here every single day. Because the building was of many different offices and they all felt kind of separated, and I wanted to find one motif that kind of encapsulated something from all of them, and what is more uniting than food. I started taking some photos, a bit scared that people are gonna throw me out, and then the guy who worked in the kitchen started posting and stuff, and he seemed really excited about it. Thematically, if you zoom out a little bit, it was built in the 50s when Malmö was a very like industrial workers city, and I also wanted like my choice of subject matter to represent the change that the city has gone through, because my personal associations with Malmö as a city is that it's very lively. There's food, there's people out, there's lots of places to eat, lots of things happening, lots of events, and how I really like the depth of the kitchen and all of the different textures and the lighting. Like the whole scene was just very cinematic, and then I was so lucky because this man right here was giving me the best energy, and he was posing and he seemed very like open and happy about it. So when I went home and I looked at all of the photos that I took, I was like, this is hands down the most interesting piece of art that I can make from this little field trip. That being said, I am a bit scared that they're gonna get mad at me, or like this is not at all what they wanted and stuff, because it's not what they asked for. But that is something quite scary with commissions in general, because they want to be surprised, but they also want a certain thing, and you never really know. Like as the artist, you never want to disappoint someone who has spent a lot of money trusting you. I am very scared, but I am hoping that they won't get mad at me, because I was selected and I was given free hands, and I also don't think that I have like disregarded the assignment. So I finished the underpainting, and at 10 o'clock today I woke up and I was gonna start oil painting, but like I'm so scared and I'm so unsure of how to paint it that I have just been procrastinating, and now it's 4 o'clock. I just haven't decided if I'm gonna paint it really thick, if I'm gonna do it like my normal style, if I'm gonna do something looser. And there are aspects of the underpainting, for example like the palette and the brush strokes, that I really like, and I'm thinking it would look cool if some of the raw underpainting was like shining through, but then I also don't know how I'm gonna pull that off, so we'll see. I think the best way to go about it is just painting very intentionally, starting here and then branching outwards, and just like leaving stuff and then filling stuff in until it looks too much and then stopping. That is my explanation of what I'm gonna do. As always, I will be using a sushi takeaway lid from Andy's dad's restaurant. Burnt sienna, cadmium red, Prussian blue, cadmium yellow, titanium white, burnt umber. These are the ones that I always use, and then for this painting specifically, I am also adding sap green, yellow ochre, and lemon yellow because I want to try a bit of a different palette and see if the result changes, basically.
And excuse my voice, I'm a bit sick when I'm recording the voiceover, but I basically decided to just jump straight in. I was like so nervous, feeling so much pressure. I spent days like theorizing of how I was going to paint it, but I feel like at the end of the day, you just have to kind of try. You can only like overanalyze it to a certain degree. Like at the end, you have to actually try for yourself. So I basically started improvising, but within the framework that I had set, obviously like having a good reference photo and then also having this predetermined the color palette that I wanted. So I just started improvising in terms of like the order of which I painted things. I just like very intuitively like started at a certain area and just kind of figured out what look of like brush work I wanted, basically. But I had a lot of fun painting this because I am not used to painting metal and all of these reflective textures and surfaces. Like that was very new to me, which I found very fun.
The art studio will become a dining hall. Just like that. What? Midnight food. Midnight food. Wow. So the progress on the painting is not going super well. I don't know if it's this brand of canvas that is a bit unusual to me because I'm noticing that the paint is like very wet, very like slipping on, but this exact same paint is usually very, very dry. And this makes everything look a bit over blended and like washed out. You see what I mean, Andy? Like this is supposed to be white, but everything just like blends into each other.
Yeah.
And like it looks weak and the lines aren't crisp. It's very rounded. And here it looks stupid. Here, I like this. I think I'm gonna keep it like this. I think I'm also gonna keep this like this.
And a question I get asked pretty often is that if like painting commissions damages my passion for painting. And my response to that is like both yes and no. Generally, I think like I prefer painting something I don't love painting way more than like any other job, if that makes sense. Like if this is what it takes for me to pursue my passion. Like, it is like a very small price to pay for me. And I also feel like I am so grateful to these people. And the request is usually so heartfelt. Like, it's usually someone passing away, a gift for someone's mom because their sister they haven't met. Like, it's usually a very heartfelt commission, and I usually feel very honored to be the artist who they allow kind of bringing that vision into life. But what I will say is that sometimes if the client is very picky and not like sure themselves of what they want, and you will send a draft and they will request changes upon changes upon changes, and it's actively taking time away. Like, when I get a portrait commission, I set time aside and I usually know roughly how long it will take. But sometimes when they want like more changes, I, you can't help but feel a bit annoyed that it's taking time away from your actual passion projects, if that makes sense. So then if someone is not happy, or if someone is requesting stuff that you feel like you aren't capable of, like my skill sets kind of aren't like reaching their level, then I feel like I can get a lot of anxiety, like pressure and performance anxiety, and that is not nice feelings. Like, then I kind of regret taking on the commission, and I will feel bad, kind of. But like, I think like 90% of my clients are super, super, super nice and understanding. So I wouldn't say it's like a general problem. I would say that it's more like any other job. Some days are better than others. But I'm super, super, super grateful, and I still can't believe people are choosing me when commissioning portraits and stuff. Like, that means so much to me. So I don't want to complain too much. But that being said, like, I'm not gonna lie that if I was in the position where my originals would sell enough for me to not rely on commissions, I would obviously prefer that. I think any artist who says otherwise is kind of lying, because, it's always nice to choose for yourself what to paint. And I have painted a lot of commissions where, like, I would have never chosen that subject matter, and I would have never chosen that photo. And like, a lot of the portraits that I do paint are quite boring, but I still view them as practice. Every time I do a commission, even if the subject matter isn't even if the photo isn't my style, I still develop my skills. And it is a very privileged position to have somebody paying for me practicing, if that makes sense. So overall, I like it, but I hope in the future to do less of it.
So I'm like really, really struggling with the face. You know what they say, never paint a smiling person, because you really have to nail something quite magical for it to not look creepy or goofy, and I'm not quite there yet. And I also don't think the likeness is there. Getting a bit, but compared to the rest of the painting, the face is getting a bit overworked, so I'm not sure how much I can actually mess around with it without like the harmony of the painting disappearing. It's also very hard to get all of the facial features, especially in the eyes when it's such a dark shadow, considering the lighting in the room. Oh, I regret everything. See, I completely lost the sketch. It's like, I think I've discovered that when I stand up and paint, I somehow, like, in my focus, I get really tense and I kind of stop breathing. This is gonna make me sound really stupid, but I get all sweaty and it feels like I'm having a panic attack, but I have realized that it's probably just that I am not like breathing properly when standing, because it only happens when I'm standing up. If I sit and this is against the wall, it's like too far for me to do all the little details. So I'm gonna try to do a setup where I have this in my lap. Oh fuck. Oh my god, I wish I could have had this. so I haven't filmed it, but I have scraped off and painted in, his face a million times. Now I have sort of reached a point where I think it's okay. It's really hard getting the likeness with the lighting, and then also just like smiling people usually don't make good paintings. I think the entire painting would have a lot more mood and a lot of more like cinematic edge to it if he was serious, but I don't have a photo.
That's what you are.
Blir du?
Ja.
Ja, det är inte det.
Vet du vilken det är? Den är skitnice.